Shalom Israel. This is a medieval icon of Christ. This is a painting of what John the Revelator saw in Revelations chapter 1, 14 and 15. It says the revelation of Jesus Christ. Verse 14 and 15 says, his head and his hairs were white like wool. The woolly texture hair is like the hair of a Negro, or like black people, as white as snow. And his eyes was the flame of fire, and his feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So if you burn anything, it turns dark. Here's all the scriptures now to prove if the Lord is for us or is he for the world.
These are answers to questions that Israelites usually have. You can look them up and find these scriptures. Did Christ die for all nations upon the earth? No. Read Matthews 1:21, Acts chapter 5 verse 29 to 31, Acts chapter 13, 23 to 24, Matthews chapter 10, verse 5 and 6, Isaiah chapter 46, verse 13, Joel chapter 2, verse 27, Luke chapter 1, verse 68, 75, Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 28, Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1 to 3, 2 Samuel chapter 7, verse 10, Hebrews chapter 6, verse 9. The world that they're talking about in John 3:16 is the nation of Israel. To prove that, read Isaiah 45 and 17, St. John 4, chapter 4, 21st verse and the 22nd verse, Romans 9 and 4, Acts 1 verse 6, Joel chapter 2 verse 32, Isaiah chapter 48 verse 12, Isaiah chapter 10 verse 20 and 20 to 22, Matthew chapter 19 verse 27 to 28, Revelations 21 chapter 21 verse 10 to 12, and Daniel's chapter 2 verse 44. And that answers the questions about did Christ die for all nations upon the earth, and that answer is no, and those scriptures prove it, that the answer is no, he did not die for all the nations on the earth. Another question is, did Christ do away with the law? No, he didn't. The law is still in effect. Read Matthews chapter 5 verse 7, Romans chapter 7 verse 12, Matthew chapter 19 verse 16 to 17, Romans chapter 7 verse 7 to 14, Matthew chapter 5 verse 18 to 19, Psalm 78 verse 5 to 7, Romans chapter 2 verse 13, Matthew chapter 23 verse 23, St. John chapter 14 verse 21, Mark chapter 7 8th and 9th verse, 1 John chapter 2 3rd and 4th verse, Mark chapter 7 verse 13, 1 John chapter 2 verse 5, Isaiah chapter 2 verse 2 and 3. Another question is, does the Lord love everybody? No. Read Malachi chapter 1 verse 1 to 4, Romans chapter 9 verse 13, Isaiah chapter 40 verse 15 to 17, Amos chapter 3 verse 1 to 2, Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 6, Psalms chapter 147 verse 19 to 20, and 2 Samuel chapter 7, 23 and 24. Does the Bible teach unity of races? No. Leviticus chapter 20, 24 to 26. Deuteronomy chapter 7, 1 to 7. Deuteronomy chapter 32, 8 to 9. Ezra chapter 9, verse 12. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, 20 to 21. Romans 9, chapter 9, verse 8. Revelations chapter 18, 4th verse. Will the different nations who believe in Christ be saved from the Lord's wrath? No. Read Isaiah 34th chapter, 1st verse to the 3rd verse. Jeremiah 3rd chapter, 23rd verse. Isaiah 14, 1st verse to the 3rd verse. Isaiah 66 chapter, 15 to 16th verse. Daniel's 2nd chapter, 44th verse. Micah 4th chapter, 11th verse to the 13th verse. Revelations 19th chapter, 11th verse to the 15th verse. Only the 12 tribes of Israel will be gathered out of all nations. Read Amos chapter 9, verse 8 and verse 9. Ezekiel chapter 34, 13 to 16. Jeremiah chapter 1 and 1. 1 Peter chapter 1, verse 1 to 2. Isaiah 11, chapter 11, 11th verse to the 12th verse. Was Jesus Christ a Caucasian man, or in the Bible they call him Edomites? No. Read Revelation chapter 1, 13 to 15. Read Daniel's chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. Jeremiah 14, in chapter 14, 2nd verse. And Hebrews 7th chapter, 14th verse. Does his color matter? Because a lot of people say his color doesn't matter. It does matter, or else it wouldn't be in the Bible. It absolutely does matter, or would not be in the Bible. Read St. John 8th chapter, 32nd verse. 3rd John 1st chapter, 4th verse. St. John 7th chapter, 38th verse. Isaiah 8th chapter, 20th verse. St. John 4th chapter, 24th verse. And St. John 17th chapter, 17th verse. Does the Bible give a description of the Lord? Yes. Read Revelation chapter 1, verse 1 to 14 and 15. Daniel's chapter 10, 5 and 6 verse. Also of the angels, read Ezekiel chapter 1, verse 7. Also verse 27 and 28. And of the 12 tribes of Israel, yes, read Isaiah 29 and 22. Lamentations 4 and 8. And also the 5th, Lamentations 4 and 8 and 5 and 10. Job chapter 30 verse 30. Jeremiah 8th chapter 21st verse. Also Jeremiah 12th chapter 9th verse. And also Jeremiah 14 and 2. Also Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Acts 21 verse 37 to 39. Exodus chapter 2, verse 17 to 19, and Numbers, 12th chapter, 9th verse to the 12th verse. Now also the true image of Christ is found in Revelations chapter 1, verse 1, and also 14 and 15. It said the revelation of Jesus Christ. His head and his hairs were white like wool. The woolly textured hair of Negroes. Negroes have woolly hair. As white as snow. And his eyes were as a flame of fire. And his feet were unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. So if you burn anything, it turns dark, man. And they were telling you he's looking at his feet. So, come on, that's easy. Jesus Christ's skin is dark. It compared to it like it was burned in a furnace. He had to be a very dark-skinned man. I mean, that's easy, man. I mean, please.